Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome to a very special episode of the BehindTheSteelCurtain.com flagship podcast. The Standard is the Standard. I am Jeff Hartman, editor of BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, with you, flying solo on this show on this Christmas Day. That's right, it's Christmas Day. Still giving you a show. I don't know how many people will be here in the live chat watching live on YouTube. If you didn't know we had a YouTube channel, we do. Go to youtube.com, search BTSC Steelers Radio. You can find all of our videos there. You can subscribe to our channel and set up your notifications so that you make sure that you get every single episode. I want to start off this show by just stating, I hope that everyone out there, Pittsburgh Steeler Nation, Behind the Steel Curtain Nation, I just want to mention that we hope that, and I speak for my co-host Lance Williams, I speak for Dave Schofield, his brother, Brosco, Brian Anthony Davis, Tony Defio. We hope that you all have a very, very Merry Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, if you don't celebrate Hanukkah, if you don't celebrate Kwanzaa or Festivus on the 23rd of December, then by all means, happy holidays. Happy holidays. We hope you have a great one. I really do. With that said, let's talk some Steelers football, shall we? If you notice the headline of this episode, it had nothing to do with the Baltimore Ravens. And that was on purpose. It was intentional. First and foremost, I wanted to talk about what I thought was the hot button topic surrounding the Steelers, going on, and has nothing to do with the Ravens. We'll talk about the Ravens game a lot on the Steelers preview, which will be on regular date and time. That's tomorrow night, Thursday, 9 p.m., 8:30, 9 p.m., around there, live on YouTube. I wanted to talk today about Ben Roethlisberger, believe it or not. News came on Monday and a little bit more on Tuesday when it was, Chris Mortensen of ESPN, who reported that the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback and sources that he had close to the situation were suggesting that Ben Roethlisberger might not be as confident about his return to the Steelers as he once was. And, I took this with a grain of salt because I've learned to take anything with Ben Roethlisberger with a grain of salt. Then he kind of backtracked, and I'm talking about Chris Mortensen. He backtracked a little bit and said that the sources are saying that Ben is tracking to play and that everything should be fine and all that stuff. It wasn't until today, Christmas morning, when Ben Roethlisberger went onto his official Twitter page, his official Facebook page. I'm sure he didn't do it, but he shared a family photo of he and the kids and the dogs and his wife, and they're all wearing matching pajamas, and says, "We hope that you have a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy holidays and a wonderful New Year, yeah, blah, blah, blah." And at the very end, it said also, P.S., postscript, I am going to be coming back, and I'm already working on coming back stronger and better than ever. And so I think that a lot of Steeler Nation gave a collective sigh. Like, so nice to hear, It's just so nice to hear that what many people feel will be the savior for this team vying for a Super Bowl in the coming years, Ben Roethlisberger, number 7, he's coming back. It kind of felt like that a little bit. But should we be listening to what Ben Roethlisberger says? For the moment, let's just go ahead and take the fact that Ben Roethlisberger has been known, let's be honest here, he's been known to drum up some attention. I'm not going to call it drama, although it's what it is. He's been known to drum up some attention. I'll be nice. It's Christmas Day. Be nice. So he's been known to do that from time to time. And I don't think that he was trying to drum up drama unless he spoke to someone that was going to say, he knew was going to speak to Chris Mortensen and say, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to come back. Let's keep that to the side, though. What I want to talk about is the fact that should we really be understanding, or should we listen to Ben Roethlisberger and what he's saying right now? And I'm going to tell you the answer is no. He has good intentions. It's great to hear that he has good intentions. It's great to hear that he is someone that is determined to try and get back. But that's the caveat here. Try to get back. He's going to have to try to get back. And what I mean by that is that I spoke about this on the Next Man Up podcast, as well as the Steelers the Steelers Hangover podcast on Monday. You're talking about a 38-year-old quarterback who's coming off of a season-ending elbow injury that required surgery. There is no guarantee about anything until Ben Roethlisberger actually throws an object. I'm not even talking about a football. I'm talking about an object. Because here we are. Ben Roethlisberger says all the right things. Great to hear it. Really is. But at the same time, he hasn't even thrown anything yet. So his intention is awesome. He wants to come back. He wants to be better than ever. He wants to lead this team to a 7th Lombardi. That's phenomenal. And if he's able to do that physically, he's going to give them a heck of a shot to do that. But that's what we don't know. He doesn't know it. Doctors don't know it. No one knows it. So until that late February, early March deadline or time frame that he is going to actually be able to throw again, which means he's going to be able to shave his face, we don't know what it's going to look like. You know, he can say all the stuff that he wants. And you know what? If he had some trepidation about coming back, if he was literally looking at his life and saying, you know what, in this season, although tough because he was preparing for the season, he went through training camp, all that stuff. If he were to sit back and say, yeah, I've really enjoyed my time at home, enjoyed my time with the family, with the kids, being able to kind of, do whatever I want. Maybe I don't know if I want to go through this again. If he said that, I would understand 100%. The fan base would be livid. But anyone that is an adult, that is a parent, that understands that type of situation would understand that, hey, makes sense. Maybe he doesn't want to come back. But at the same time, there's also like I just said, that there's the factual part of this where what if he comes back in March and throws something and it doesn't feel right? What if it never healed properly? What if it requires more surgery? What if there's a setback? What if that March timeframe turns into April and May? What if that starts to... You just don't know. Just like a pitcher coming off of Tommy John surgery, and this was not Tommy John surgery from everything that we heard, and I say we as in the fan base and in the national media, you just don't know. You talk about pitchers coming off that major surgery, and you just don't know what that bounce back is going to look like. So to kind of wrap this up, Ben Roethlisberger is saying all the right stuff. Absolutely all the right stuff. But the one thing that we as fans need to keep in mind is that it doesn't matter what he says, it's what he's able to do. Because if he comes back, he's able to throw again, but it's not the same arm. He can't drive the ball down the field. Those out patterns from the far hash don't get there on time. You know what that turns into? Turns into interceptions or sometimes pick sixes. We just don't know. And this is a really, really, really difficult spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers based on the fact that when he's going to be able to start throwing, if everything goes on the same timetable that he has told people, it's going to be right around the time of free agency. It's going to be right around the time of the NFL draft. Now, the Steelers don't have a first-round draft pick in the upcoming draft, but at the same time, I don't know if they would have gone after a quarterback, but if you have an inkling that Ben's not going to be back to what he was and maybe never will, you're going to have to look for help. So far in the live chat, I've seen some people say, what about like Marcus Mariota as a backup? I am okay with Marcus Mariota being a backup. I talked about Marcus Mariota being an NFL caliber quarterback. He's just not a franchise quarterback. He would be a good backup, in my opinion. Someone that would come in if he's called upon and be able to win you some games, could start for a stretch of time. And his skill set, maybe with the Steelers, would be better than what it was in Tennessee. You don't know. But coming back to that whole situation with the reality of this situation, of these circumstances, is that for Ben Roethlisberger, when he comes back, when he starts throwing again, the Steelers are going to have to make some tough decisions. I'm not saying they're going to cut him. I'm not saying they're going to release him. But at the same time, they're having to make some real quick decisions off of this overall time frame that we're talking about in late February, early March. So Ben Roethlisberger has talked. He has spoken to the masses via social media. But do we listen? With intent, in terms of his intentions, you listen. Good to hear. His mind is in the right place. He wants to come back. He wants to prove the doubters wrong. He wants to win another Super Bowl. He wants to cement his legacy in NFL folklore. But in terms of the reality of the situation, there's no way of knowing whether he's truly back until he's able to throw again. Period. That's it. So I don't think Ben was being a drama queen that everyone calls him. I understand it, rightfully so. I don't think that he was being an attention seeker here. I think he's trying to calm down. He's trying to put out this fire, and he's doing it the best that he can. So there you have it, folks. That's my thoughts. I'll hear what you have to say in the live chat. I have a couple of super chats here to get to. Grayson Brown, the hater, puts $1.99 in the tip jar. Says, happy holidays, Jeff and the BTSC family. Happy holidays to you too, Grayson. I hope you've had a great day so far. Shield91 also puts $2 in the tip jar. Says, Merry Christmas, Jeff. Merry Christmas, my friend. I hope you all have a really good day and spend it with family, friends, and just relax a little bit. You know what I mean? Snowman puts $5. He said, we won't know anything till he starts throwing the ball. You're exactly right, Snow. Until he starts throwing the ball again, no one knows anything. And that's a tough situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I don't know. Kathy Ford, she says, when do they project such throwing? Jeff, no, like I said, late February, I think is what I heard, March. He's not going to be throwing anything until then. Now, he'll be doing rehab. And so from that respect, they'll be able to kind of keep tabs on all the stuff, in terms of, okay, his strength is coming back, the mobility in his elbows where it should be. He's really starting to see that arm come back. But again, when you're talking about a quarterback, just like you'd be talking about a pitcher, you need to make sure that you have his arm back to the way it was. You can't have Ben Roethlisberger go onto the football field and his arm is only, 75 to 80% of what it used to be. It's just not the same player, period. Just not the same player. All right. Now's the time where we talk about some questions. We don't have a ton of people in the live chat, 81 people right now. That's fine. If you have a question, go ahead and fire away in the live chat, but I want to take a minute here to talk about how you, the listener, whether you're listening live or whether you're listening in replay or whether you're listening in audio platform, how you can really help the show. How can you help the show? By liking our videos. It sounds simple, it sounds elementary, and it is, but by hitting the thumbs up button, by commenting and having a discussion in the comment section, by subscribing to our channel, we're really close to 5,000. That was our goal that we set. We wanted to be at 5,000 by the end of the season, regular season. It's only a few days left. So if you haven't shared these on like your Facebook feed, share them and say, hey, subscribe to these videos if you're a Steeler fan. If you belong to some Steeler pages, sharing them helps a ton. Hopefully we can get to 5,000. That was our goal. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel, set up your notifications however you like, whether it's email, push button notification, and basically saying, I'm not going to want to miss a show live. That's how you do it. Now, if you're someone that only listens on audio platform, which there's a lot of people that do, the best way you can help us is to not only subscribe to the show. So if it's on iTunes or Google Play, subscribe so that you always get notification when we have a new show. But give us a good rating, especially on iTunes. Giving us 5-star ratings, leaving a good comment. We've been on that platform for a long time, dating all the way back to our Blog Talk Radio days. And so we have a lot of negative reviews from back in that day. So the content and the quality has increased tremendously since then. So we need to bump those out of there. We need to get out of there. So that's how you can help. Doesn't cost a dime. Plain and simple. Kathy puts $2 in tip jar. She said, and aside, Jeff, can you comment on fat-headedness? She's talking about the sign behind me. It says, I'm a fathead, or you. That came with my Ben Roethlisberger fathead, just like the Steeler logo over my shoulder did. I actually have a Ben Roethlisberger nameplate I might throw up there at some point, but I'm going to be looking to add some stickers and stuff. And so when I get some more, that might find its way out. But if you have any questions, fire away. We have a couple already coming in. I really appreciate you all being so active on this holiday, spending some time with me in between as I'm traveling in between houses. So it was at the mother-in-law's this morning. We have a little bit of a break, and then we're going to the father-in-law's later this evening. So here we go. Sean Manahan says, biggest question, if he comes back, can his O-line protect him? And that's a really good question, Sean, because although Ben Roethlisberger's mobility shouldn't be an issue, but the offensive line has become an issue so far this year in 2019. It's a far cry from what it used to be and what it once was, in my opinion. Some might say that's the quarterback play, not setting up protections correctly, not setting up, making sure that you're diagnosing blitzes prior to the snap. So I don't want to say too much. I think that if there's one piece of that puzzle that could be gone after the season, and I'm referring to the offensive line, I think it's Ramon Foster. You look at his contract, you look at his play. I'd much rather pay someone like BJ Finney that money personally. So we'll see. So there's a lot of people saying Cam Newton in Pittsburgh. I don't think the Steelers can afford Cam Newton. I think it's kind of a moot point. Here we go. Mark says, any news on Pouncey's knee injury? Now, Tuesday, that was yesterday, Mike Tomlin held his weekly press conference, and he did say that Pouncey had a knee injury that would keep him out this Sunday, but did not say the extent of the injury. The fact that he's not having surgery tells me that it's not a ligament tear. And when I say a ligament tear, I'm talking about one of those that is an ACL or something like that. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a ligament sprain or a sprain of some kind, but Tomlin did not give the extent of that, but did rule out Pouncey. So BJ Finney will be getting his fourth start of this season, his third start, considering he started his 2 games when Pouncey was on suspension. So, sorry about that. Here we go. Let's go to some other questions. A lot of people wishing me Merry Christmas. I really, really appreciate that. I mean, what's in the live chat? Awesome to see. North Top, could Paxton Lynch realistically get put in? Realistically, yes. In my opinion, the leash might be a little bit longer than it was for Devlin Hodges going into week 16, but it's certainly not going to be ridiculously long. And Paxton Lynch, although he has not played yet for the Steelers, he's been in practice. They've seen what he can do. They've kept him around. That's key. I think that if Devlin Hodges goes out and throws the ball to the other team like he has been, 6 interceptions in the last 2 games, what else? What do you have to lose? You have to, in my opinion, you have to win this game. You have to win on Sunday. We know that we need help. We know the Steelers need the Titans to lose. They win, they're in. I get it. But in my opinion, when it comes to the quarterback play, you have to win the game. And if Devlin Duck Hodges goes out there and plays the way he has, lacking confidence, not really protecting the football, you're gone. You're done. And I'm telling Paxton Lynch leading up to this week, look, you better be ready. You better be physically and mentally ready because you're going to go in at a moment's notice. It just really sucks to me that Mason Rudolph is not going to be around. He was put on injured reserve because of his shoulder injury, because I thought he looked really good coming in. That's just my own personal thought. Let's see here. All right, a couple more questions. Vera Singh says, yo, Jeff, who would you like to pick up a quarterback this offseason? A couple names that have been thrown around. Someone that's like a journeyman, like Ryan Fitzpatrick is one that has definitely been tossed around as someone that's not going to be under contract next year. The Dolphins are probably going to pick up a quarterback. I think that what the Steelers have learned in 2019 is that when you have an aging veteran quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger, you have to have a plan in place in case he gets hurt, period. And they didn't have, in my opinion, a very good plan in place coming into 2019. Yes, I thought that it was great that Mason Rudolph took a step from year 1 to year 2, but you can't expect that step from year 1 to year 2 to be enough to win you a bunch of games, get you to the playoffs. And it still amazes me that we're talking about a potential playoff berth with the Steelers with all that they've been through this year. Absolutely incredible. So let's see if we can have Raymond Santiago. Jeff hates Big Ben. Merry Christmas to you too, Raymond. I know that you're just messing around. I love Big Ben. Vernon Woody puts $4.99 in the tip jar. Says, Merry Christmas. I applaud your commitment on a day like this. I've promised you all that you would get a show a day during the season. And this is not my full-time job. It is a job. I do make money doing this, but it's just one of those situations where I made a promise. I keep my promises. I tell my kids that all the time. If I promise you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So when I told you all you're going to get a show a day during the season, I can take 30 minutes out of my day in between trips to family, and I can talk to you all about some Steelers football. I love talking about Steelers football. There you go. Felicia, who's a longtime listener, she says Ben's arm, Pouncey's knees, Foster too. This is not a good sign for the start of 2020. Old man time is calling. Look, old man time is undefeated. But at the same time, the Steelers can make some educated decisions, moves that can really help ease the impact of father time on this team. If Ben Roethlisberger comes back and is healthy and can throw the ball the way that we talked about at the beginning of the show, Marquise Pouncey, if he can maybe rebound. I didn't think Marquise Pouncey played poorly this year outside of just some really bad snaps at times. It's just strange. And I just spoke about Foster in regards to the fact that I think that he could be replaced. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot of people saying that what the Steelers could do at guard, and I wouldn't be opposed to this. It depends on one player or two, one or two, is take Matt Filer and have him be the left guard. I think he's better built for guard anyways. So if you cut Ramon Foster, you move Filer to guard, and then you take, it all depends on two guys, Zach Banner or Chuks Okorafor, to be that right tackle. If you could do that, it's your best case scenario. It's a best case scenario. You're going to save money off Foster being released. You're going to have in-house replacements already ready to go. But like I said, you have to sign BJ Finney, in my opinion, because he's that depth piece. You're going to need him. And maybe he would compete for the starting guard job. That's something to think about too. So there we go. Kathy likes my old man times undefeated. Yeah, he's never lost a game. Let's see here. Big Marv, 34. Hey, Jeff, Merry Christmas to you and your family. I'm a longtime Steeler fan. I love my team. But why do we need to get in the playoffs if our offense is so not so hot? Here's the thing, Marv. I understand what you're saying. Like, I really do. And my own father, who is he's a big Steeler fan. I mean, he's the reason why I'm as big a Steeler fan as I am. He said, I don't even want him to make the playoffs. And I said, Dad, how can you say that? Just get in. Like, just get in. Just get into the postseason. It's experience for these young players. You know, a guy like Minka Fitzpatrick has never played in the postseason. It's not only experience, it's, you know, it's just a chance to make a play. This team with this defense, in my opinion, can beat anyone. And it's not going to be easy, and they're not going to be favored, but I do think they can beat anyone. Just get in and see what happens. Period. Christmas miracle. Here we go. 2019. Let's see. Ron says, Jeff, if Ben's healthy, is a durable running back the best addition for the offense? So Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Ron. This is a tough question for me, based on the fact that I feel like the Steelers addressed the running back situation in the draft by picking up Benny Snell Jr. And also they have Jalen Samuels in his second year. And they picked up Kareth White Jr., who I really like. It's a change of pace back. I don't know if the Steelers change their philosophy in terms of how they run the football and actually think about it as more of a running back by committee, then I think that the stable of backs they have are fine, absolutely fine. At the same time, you have a situation where there is a player that's in the draft that you think is a can't miss prospect, even in the second round. I wouldn't be opposed to them picking them up. I'll put it that way. So we'll see what happens. North Top asks, is there a scenario where the Steelers are a Super Bowl threat if they beat the Chiefs in the wild card? You beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what? Here's what starts to happen. You start playing I always call it's like in the book of Genesis in the Bible, the he begat who begat who begat, as they go through the lineage of the first few, ever from Adam and Eve on. It turns into, well, the Steelers beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs beat the Ravens, and the Ravens beat the Patriots. So that means the Steelers could beat the Patriots and the Ravens. That's what the fans do. Fans can do that. If you go into the wild card game and you go into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs, you better believe people will say, wait, what? Wait, the Steelers did what? They beat who? You never know. And I always go back to, I think it's 2013, the 7-9 Seahawks hosted the 13-3 New Orleans Saints in Seattle. Marshawn Lynch ran wild and they beat him. At a time when everyone was complaining because the 7-9 team was hosting the 13-3 team. They beat them. It can happen. It's football. It's crazy. A couple few bounces. There you go. So Raymond, he says, we have literally 4 running backs, but none are true number one. I'd rather have one great running back and a true number 2 behind him. Watch the Seahawks in the playoffs, Marshawn Lynch and Chris Carson. Chris Carson might have been play with his hip injury, but you're right. They don't have a number 1. But look at all the teams that do the running back by committee and are successful. And I asked the question, how many true number 1 running backs are there in the league at this time? Okay, I'll rattle off a few. Christian McCaffrey, he would be at the top of my list. I would put Saquon Barkley up there. I put Ezekiel Elliott up there. Whether you like him or not, I don't personally, but he's a number 1 guy. Other than that, the running back position has changed so much. Alvin Kamara down in New Orleans is complemented by a couple other players now, and it kind of always has been. It was Mark Ingram there before. Mark Ingram, they have Gus Edwards in Baltimore. I understand what you're saying, Raymond. I'm not disagreeing, but at the same time, I think that if they change their style of how they use these players, it could work. It could work because when I think about questions like the one that I just had about the running back situation, I'm not going to be one of these hosts that just says, "Oh yeah, go get the biggest the free agent out there. Doesn't matter, just go get them, whatever it costs." You can't do that. So my thinking as the host and trying to help you all out as much as I can in terms of knowledge and stuff like that is they're not going to have the money to do that. And so if you can have a running back by committee with the running backs you already have, it's going to save you money and you can spend that money other places. That's fine. So Raymond responds to me, "That's fine, Raymond, let's talk, man." He said, "Okay, fine, Jeff, but if we are going to have a running back by committee, then we need to start using them out of the backfield in the passing game too. What's our offensive coordinator doing?" That's a different bag of worms, Raymond. That is it. Like I said, if they can change their system to more of a running back by committee style, they don't have that right now, then I think they could be okay. Getting into the Randy Fichtner talk, I ask you to go back and listen to my Next Man Up podcast I did Monday night, where I spoke about Randy Fichtner getting a pass. Doesn't mean that I understood everything, but getting a pass. So, all right. See if I can go back here. I think we had some questions I missed. Felicia said the playoffs is awesome. I don't care if we get past the Chiefs and the other teams can eat all the hate and disrespect they show against us. Just get in. Just get into the playoffs. That's what it comes down to. Ben Builder puts $2 in the tip jar and says, I say we sign the other Fitzpatrick from Miami. Yeah, that's what I mentioned, Ben, just a few minutes ago, as a lot of people were talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick as a guy that could come in and be that number 2. And then you would have a competition for number 3 between Mason and Rudolph and Devlin Hodges, which I think at this point in time, most people that are logical fans would say that Duck and Mason are the third string type quarterbacks at this point in their career. We'll see. All right. A couple more questions here before we call it a show. I didn't want to go too long. I was looking for about 30 minutes. We're getting to that point. So I can go back with my family on my try. I think I heard my youngest yelling for me. So you might be hearing some noise as that ball of fire comes flying down the hallway. Leonard Green says, give Benny Snell a stout O-line and watch him run wild. Maybe, but you're not going to be able to replace the whole offensive line in one offseason. Period. So, all right, folks, there you go. I really appreciate the 122 people, wow, that are actually in the live chat right now, that are watching live on Christmas Day as I sit here in my Santa Claus hat and talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's my youngest. As I said, here she comes. So with that said, remember, folks, be your very best every single day. Be kind to each other. Don't forget, like Lance always says, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. We'll see you next time for another episode of The Standard is the Standard.